As the old song say, love and marriage go together as horse and carriage. One of the debates in the Christian experience is how much emphasis should be placed on the expression of romantic love. To some, it is okay as expressed in the Songs of Solomon. To others, the Songs of Solomon is allegorical, that is, it's just a picture of Christ and Israel, and those who are Christians say it's a picture of Christ and the church. But in the literal, it is clear that writings such as Songs of Solomon and here Psalms 45 are expressions of human romantic love. Romantic love is beautiful. It's a glorious expression, envelops and wraps up with the euphoria of human emotions of warmth, beautiful expressions, and glorious tenderness. It is a gift from God that He expects us to express and experience the joy of love and marriage. The love between male and female, some call it secular love, the most glorious feeling and emotions that the human experience can ever counter, flowered with expressions and acts so beautifully displayed and so joyously expressed as an emotional art. Well, some say it's secular, some say it has no connection with the sacred, but I beg to differ in the sense that it is God who created us so, and He expects us to enjoy that majestic aura of expression. Therefore, it is not only natural, but it is also sacred because He designed us so. That is why we have passages of scriptures such as Psalm chapter 45. Good morning, saints, and welcome to the Dixon's Devotions with Pastor Dixon. Today we are going to be looking at Psalms chapter 45. Psalms chapter 45, a psalm of love. This psalm is a part of the Korah collections of psalms. And here in this psalm, it is entitled, for the choir director according to the Soshanim, a Miskal of the sons of Korah, a song of love. But before we go any further, if you like the content on this YouTube channel, please remember to subscribe, like, comment, and tell a friend about our YouTube channel. Let's get back to the word. First of all, we know that this is a poetic song written for a royal wedding. Most reference it to the reign of Solomon, but there are uncertainties to exactly who this psalm is directly referred. All we know, it was a royal wedding. It could have been David and it could have been Solomon. The psalm was to be played in what you call Shoshanim, or sung in Shoshanim? Well, Shoshanim is a word means lily or a lily blossom shaped like a lily. So most commentators believe that this song was to be played on a musical instrument shaped like a lily. Some say it's a trumpet, some say it's a trombone. Whatever it is, it's a musical instrument shaped like a lily, or the song of a lily is just an expression of a particular reference to a love tune back in those days. And as it said, it's a mishkal of the sons of Korah, and I said mishkal means to impart wisdom. So it's a love song with wisdom that we need to understand. And of course, it prefaces it by saying a love song or a song of love. That is why most people believe it's Solomon, because we know that in his tender years, Solomon was referred as a lover. But the psalmist, whoever wrote it, is picturing a wedding procession. As I said, it could be David and it could be Solomon. But the psalmist here, he was so excited about this royal wedding that he started to pen these words. As we read this psalm, we are going to see that it shifts between the sacred sometimes and also the secular. And it combines both sacred and secular, and nothing is wrong in this type of psalm when we're expressing love between male and female, or a wedding procession. Because remember, in the book of Genesis chapter 2, chapter 1, God is the one who performs the first marriage. Let us get into the word. The scene is set. The decorations is splendid. The groom is in his place and ready. He is robed in royalty. The priest is ready. He has on his most colorful and brilliant sacred garment set for the occasion. Now, the psalm is divided first in 3 sections, and we are going to see how the scene shifts between these 3 sections. The first section, from verse 1 to verse 9, comments and describe the groom, and from verse 10 to verse 16 comments and describe the bride, and verse 17 God declare his blessings. So let's look at the groom from verse 1 to verse 9. Verse 1, this is the songwriter or the psalmist describing this royal wedding, and this psalmist is excited for both bride and groom. And hear how he describes the groom. Verse 1, my heart overflows with a good theme. I address my verses to the king. My tongue is the pen of a ready writer, or my brush is the pen of a ready writer. The psalmist is saying he's ready to write this script, this beautiful poem, this beautiful song, as he describes this royal wedding. And here how he describes the groom. You are fairer than the sons of men. Grace is poured out upon your lips. In other words, in those days, in the biblical days, fairness, handsomeness was a mark of the king. Not only a person who could fight, but also in their wedding, that's how they describe the king or the groom. And he said, grace is poured out upon your lips. In other words, what he's saying that God's divine blessing and wisdom is poured out on his lips. Therefore, God has blessed you forever. And this is a king, as most people think it refers to Solomon, where God said to David, Solomon, out of Solomon my throne will be forever. And it's also with reference to Solomon, or to this king, or even to David, the Davidic covenant, that his throne will be an everlasting throne, which eventually will be fulfilled in Jesus Christ. But whatever, your throne is forever. And also it is a mark of the ancient time that they used to tell the king, "O king, your throne is forever." You remember in Daniel and Nebuchadnezzar, "O king, live forever." Even in modern times, the Union Jack, "O king, live forever," and all these kind of things. It's just one of the expressions of majesty. Gird your sword on your thigh, O mighty one. In your splendor and in your majesty, and in your majesty ride victoriously. So what he's saying here, the author of this psalm is wishing the king to be majestic in his victories. When he go out, let him be victorious, and do it in majesty. Ride your horse in majesty. Put your sword to your side in this procession. For the cause of truth and meekness and righteousness, let your right hand teach you awesome things. He said, ride victoriously, but do it in the cause of truth, in meekness and in righteousness. Let your right hand teach you awesome things. In other words, he's wishing the best for the king. Just like how you're just beautiful, splendidly for this wedding, so in your reign and in your wars, do it victoriously. But remember, fight for truth, fight for the beauty of truth and justice. And let your right hand teach you awesome things. He is wishing the best for this room. Your arrows are sharp. The people fall under your arrows. In the heart of the king's enemies, or the nations fall under your arrows. You can interpret it in some verses. In other words, King, I want you to be victorious. You look so splendid today. And I pray that this carry on over into your victories. Let the nations rule under you. Your throne, O God, is forever and ever. I'm reading from the New American Standard Version, and some have, your throne, O Lord, is forever and ever. As I said, is a description of the Davidic covenant through Solomon, whose kingdom is going to be reign forever. And here, O God, is in capital. In other words, through David, God's kingdom through Jesus Christ will be established forever. A scepter of righteousness is the scepter of your kingdom. In other words, you will rule in righteousness. Just like how splendid you look today, O King. Oh, I wish that you will rule in righteousness. You have loved righteousness and hated wickedness. Therefore, God, your God, has anointed you with the oil of joy above your fellows, because you have ruled with righteousness, with the scepter of righteousness in your hand. That is why God has anointed you above all your other fellows. All your garments are fragrant with myrrh and aloes and cassia, as described the outfit of the groom. Out of the ivory palace, string instruments have made you glad. In other words, they're looking at the splendor and the dress of the king. And in the auditorium where this wedding is supposed to take place, you can hear the instrument playing softly and tenderly and setting the atmosphere for this wedding. king's daughters are among your noble ladies. In other words here, the king's daughters among your noble ladies, his daughters. But the noble ladies here, remember back in those days, the king had many wives. It's talking about his harem. And God permitted it and God allowed it for that time. And here all his daughters and all his harem are there, and they're like the brides maids and all these like that. The bridesmaids are there. They are the bridesmaids align the aisles when the bride is ready to come down. At your right hand stand the queen in gold from Ophir. So right there now, this is where the procession, he's looking and he's giving you an overview how it looks. The king is right there and his queen, the bride, is right there, and along the aisles you have the king's daughter and you have also all the king's other harem or concubine align the aisles right there. You could call it the bridal party. And verse 10, now shift to the bride. Oh, listen, O daughters, give attention and incline your ear. Listen, O daughter, singular, the bride, give attention and incline your ear. Forget your people and your father's house. What he's saying, you're going to get married. Now forget about your people and your father's house. You're going to marry to a king. Remember now, you're going to belongs to the king. Stop thinking about running back to your father's house and your mother's house and all your people. You're going to be betrothed to a king. The king will desire your beauty because he is your Lord. Bow down to him, respect him. The word bow down, as a king, you respect his office, but also subject yourself to your husband. Bow down to him. The daughter of Tyre will come with gifts. You know what I mean? People will come. The daughters of Tyre, in back those days, the queen, other ladies normally come and show reverence to the queen by bringing gifts and everything's like that. Like when you have wedding, people come and they bring the gifts. So it is other ladies are queens and harems of other kings will come and they will bring gifts to this bride. The rich among the people will seek your favor. Now you're going to become the queen. Even the rich people will come and seek favor from you. Now you become the queen. The king's daughters is all glorious within. Her clothing is interwoven with gold. So the king daughters, they are beautiful. They are ready. And now it shifts back to the queen. Her clothing is interwoven with gold. It starts to describe her dressing. She will be laid to the king in embroidered works. I mean, she will be so splendidly dressed. Her dress will be like embroidered works. Well, you mean the bride, I mean, you know when how the bride just look. Embroidered work, beautifully done. The virgins, her companions who follow her, the bridesmaids, will be brought to you. All of them will come. Now we're talking brought to you, the king. They will brought to the queen. They will be coming down to the bride and the groom right there at the altar. They will be laid with gladness and rejoicing. They will be singing with gladness, happiness at a wedding as they sing, as they come down to show the splendor of the ceremony. They will enter into the king's palace. In place of your fathers will be your sons. In other words, the king's daughters and your sons will be in the palace instead of your father. Your children is anticipating the children of the bride and the groom. They're the one who will inhabit the palace. So in your fathers, in place of your fathers will be your sons. You shall make them princes in all the earth. So your offspring, bride, will be princes in all the earth. Your offspring, bride, will inhabit the kingdom. Your offsprings will be princes and eventually become king and carry on your throne forever. Verse 17, this is now shifting to God, or the priest in place of God, speaking as the lips of God. This is what he's saying. I will cause your name to be remembered in all generations. Therefore the people will give you thanks forever and ever. This is God's blessing now, saying to the king, whether it's David or Solomon, I will cause your name to be remembered in all generations. And we know that David was the greatest king, then his son Solomon, but through them the Messiah will come and sit on the throne of David. Therefore the people will give you thanks forever and ever. So this is a beautiful marriage ceremony. And here we had the bride, we had the groom, and we have God in this wedding. And so it is. Marriage is a triunity. You had God, the bride, and the groom. Those three don't include a fourth, father and mother and relative. Marriage is between three person and three person alone. God, bride and groom. Male and female comprise bride and groom. In today's society we have all kind of things. Marriage is between male and female, sanctioned by God, not this modern thing that the government is going through. That destroyed the whole beauty of marriage and the marriage procession. It's a beautiful thing of art. Love is beautiful, marriage is beautiful, and the wedding day should be highly glorious. Saints, those of us who are married, I pray that the Lord continual blessings will be upon us. Remember the beauty of marriage. Those of you who are planning to get married, make it beautiful, make it wonderful. Enjoy the day and the moment in the Lord. Remember, it is sacred, not only secular, because God sanctioned it. Make your marriage something beautiful. Make your wedding splendorous. And enjoy the rest of your life together. And you realize the word forever and ever, but it also means that marriage should be binding and forever. It's a beautiful act and ceremony that God has instituted. So enjoy your marriage vows. Saints, have a wonderful day, and may the Lord's blessings be with you.